Hi and welcome back to my channel. This is Quest for Faith, where we break down the Catholic faith from a newcomer's perspective. So it's been a minute since I posted and got a little bit of story behind that and what's been going on in my life, which has been crazy lately. So let's get into it. So like I said, sorry I haven't posted in a while. It's been a little bit nuts. I am, as you can see, in new digs. I currently do not even have flooring in my office yet. We have moved from the Dallas, Texas area to the Greenville, South Carolina area. And really, as you can tell from the title of this video, it's amazing what happens when you put God first. So just to kind of give you guys a background story, I've been living in Texas since 2000, since I came out there to go to undergrad. And my wife and I had known even about the time we bought our house we were living in Texas. This was back 2015, that we knew we wanted to move. And we wanted to move to a place where we had a little bit more space. And we had looked everywhere. We really were looking hard at Georgia. And then after the elections, we decided Georgia was off the table completely. We had taken actually 2 vacations there to scope Georgia out. We'd looked at all over Tennessee. Knoxville was actually number 1 on our list going into this spring. We looked at Birmingham, Alabama. We had looked at Huntsville, Alabama. We'd looked at Tulsa, Oklahoma. We'd gone to, we were really looking at Little Rock, Arkansas. I mean, we looked everywhere. And one of the good things about COVID was all of a sudden all the masses are online. So you could tune in anytime, watch a mass from anywhere in the United States, almost the world, and see if you like, wow, they do that a little different. Well, my wife had randomly come across this parish in Greenville, South Carolina, or Taylor's actually, Prince of Peace. And she was watching it going, that's where I want to go. So to backtrack a little bit, I'm in the financial industry, and so the money, like I had my spreadsheets, I was calculating out what our taxes are going to be, which place would be the best income-wise, and really we had a huge list of criteria, right? Like we eat organic, gluten-free, dairy-free, so we needed to make sure we had grocery stores where we could get food that we could eat. We wanted to make sure we had a place that had good air, clean water, like a huge list of things, right? And then obviously a better financial situation for the family. And in Greenville was not on my list at all. We hadn't even looked at South Carolina yet. And my wife and I were praying, like something about Knoxville, Tennessee was not sitting right with us. And I think for me, it was more of, tax-wise, money-wise, it was going to make more sense. It was going to be cheaper per year to live in Knoxville by my calculations. I could be wrong, and so I was really hoping to move to Knoxville. But they don't have a really, really good parish there, and we wanted one that had both in the ordinary form and Latin Mass is what I was really hoping to get, or at least a very reverent Novus Ordo. And the cathedral in Birmingham, Alabama, which I can't think of the name of it, they have a great parish there, very reverent Novus Ordo. They do Latin every now and then, but I digress. And so I was putting the money first. I was saying, no, this makes sense. We'll just make it work. There's 1 or 2 big parishes there. We can make it work. We'll go. It's like our parish, which we didn't. The St. Jude's Catholic Church in Athens, Texas. Allen, Texas. It was not a bad. It's a really great parish. I loved going there. I was so grateful that we found them, and that's where we entered the church. It was a great parish, but I wanted more, but that wasn't on the top priority list, right? Like it was just, is there a Catholic church nearby? And we were praying and praying, like, Lord, where should we go? Where should we go? I had gotten the permission to work remote, so we really could pick anywhere we wanted to go. And then my wife and I had a conversation. We said, we need to put God first. We need to put what's going to be best for our spiritual life first, or what we can tell. And there's definitely some issues with the bishop here in South Carolina that I knew going in. But man, about the time we had that discussion that, hey, we need to put God first, is when my wife found Prince of Peace on YouTube. It was almost, it's been 6 months, but my recollection could be off. But it was almost like the next week. She's like, you have to look at this. Like, we're going to watch this, their mass on Sunday. And I'm listening to the priest and the homily, and he's not pulling any punches. He's not really doing the church a nice thing, which drives me nuts. It was just a breath of fresh air to watch. And even though it was an ordinary form mass. So I was like, should we put Greenville on the list? And we started looking at housing prices and what we could get. And we're like, oh, this really might work. How come this wasn't on our list before? And it was crazy, y'all, because I'd never even been to Greenville. And I'd been to South Carolina, but not the upstate at all. But I could tell that it was kind of my place. I like mountains and woods, and I like the beach to be close, but I'm more of a mountain, woods, and lake type of guy. And that's basically what Greenville is. And so I think right after I uploaded my last video, I had to break my office down to prep the house to sell. And we put the house on the market on a Friday. We accepted an offer the following Monday. That Wednesday, I drove out to Greenville for the very first time to look for homes, to see if, to just pray that we were going to like it, because we'd been to all those other places that I had mentioned. And as soon as we got here, it was like, yes, this is where we need to be. And even more so when I got to go to mass, I was like, yes, this is as good as I thought it was going to be watching it online. So anyways, we packed up, sold our house. And when God points you in a certain direction, it can be kind of scary. And one of the prayers I've been saying regularly lately is, God, use me the way you want to use me. Right? And that is a terrifying thing to pray, because it makes me think of that meme I saw, or a cartoon. It was just like a little cartoon where Jesus not that wheel, and it's this car where the wheel falls off the back of the car. I mean, when you say something like that, you don't know what God's going to do. And God's blessed me to move out here, and it wasn't easy. We actually were homeless for almost 5 weeks. We had to move out of our house August 25th in Texas, and we couldn't even close on our house until September 27th. So it was really hard on my kids, really hard on me with work. I calculated it out, but I think we drove something over 2,000 miles, staying in different timeshares and Airbnbs and families' homes, until we finally were able to come out here. So it's incredible how quickly, once we made that choice to put God first, how quickly everything fell into place. And I encourage you to do that. If you have a big life decision coming up, if you're debating whether, should I go to this school or that school, or should I take this job or that job? Put your faith first. Think to yourself, okay, is that going to be good for me with my faith? Am I going to be able to put God first if I do this? And maybe pray that prayer. Lord, use me to glorify you. Use me as your instrument. And I'm still scared because I don't feel like he's done that yet. But I feel like things are happening, that he's pushing me in a direction. And nothing specific, but I feel it. And but yeah, that's where I've been. If you've been wondering why haven't you posted in a while, I've been moving, and I still don't even have bookshelves in my office. It's crazy right now. But anyways, I do have some videos planned that I'm going to do. I got to go to Latin Mass finally for the first time, so I'm going to do a video on that. So you'll see that shortly. I'm going to try and post that this week also. And I definitely got some other stuff coming up. So stay tuned. I'll start posting more regularly than I have in the past, or than the last few months. But I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving, and this first week of Advent, spend the time preparing yourselves for the coming of Christ. Anyways, God bless y'all. Thank you for tuning in if you've watched to the end of this, and have a Merry Christmas. Bye.